the amendment booklet which is there. I think you guys would have already received. People, let's go ahead and now do quickly the amendments which are there, right everyone? Everyone listen. This amendment booklet, I think you guys would have already gone ahead and received in your Telegram group. If you have not gone ahead and received, Baba, check your group, the WhatsApp or the Telegram group, you would have received it. Now people who are watching at home, in the video below, I'll go ahead and provide the link for this amendment booklet. You can go ahead and download it from there. Okay? Done. Now listen to me very carefully. In these amendments, the first amendment is relating to the chapter of supply, but the supply ka amendment which is there now, you will not learn it now. You will first learn the ITC related amendment and then you will come back and read this. This supply ka amendment, you will learn when everyone? First you will learn ITC and then you will come back, because ITC, if you learn the ITC related amendment and then come back and read, you will be able to understand this easily. Done everyone? So this amendment, we will learn it later. So this is the amendment which is there, but first you have to learn ITC ka amendment. The next one over here. Now, time of supply may one small, actually it's not an amendment over here also, it's a clarification which is there. In supply chapter also it's a clarification. Clarification means just circular. Government have clarified something. Now, time of supply ka amendment, let's go ahead and talk about it quickly. Everyone listen to me very carefully. Clarification on time of supply in respect of supply of service of construction of road and maintenance thereof of National Highway Project of NHAI in hybrid annuity mode. People, now, sir, what are they talking about? They are going ahead and talking about clarification on time of supply. Means supposingly, everyone over here now, I'll go ahead and connect to this like this and I'll explain you. Listen carefully. Supposingly, I am Adani Group. ठीक है? I am Adani. ठीक है? Adani Group को supposingly NHAI, National Highway Authority of India, went ahead and told Adani Group, do one thing. Can you make one road? Adani Group told, okay. Government told, sir, we don't have so much money, but you do one thing. You go ahead and make this road for us. ठीक है? For 15 years, we will go ahead and give you the contract. 15 years, you have to make this road. Complete the road. After you complete the road, you have to go ahead and maintain the road also. And the contract is for how many years? And NHAI told per annum. So is Adani Group giving services to NHAI? Are everyone? Is it continuous supply of service? People, is it continuous supply of service? Yes. And NHAI told every year we will go ahead and pay you 10 lakh rupees. Is my point clear to all? Now tell me one thing. NHAI ke liye Adani Group is going to make the road and NHAI is going to pay what everyone? Per annum 10 lakh rupees. Every year 10 lakh rupees. Is it first of all a continuous supply of service ka contract? My question to all of you, is it a continuous supply of service ka contract? Are everyone? Yes, because it's for a period more than 3 months with payment which are going to come continuously. Yes everyone? Now, in this scenario, so basically Adani Group, they will first get the road roller, everything, you know, road roller everyone, and they will make this road. After the road is made, any problems in the road also who will take care? Adani Group only will go ahead and take care. In this basically what happens, for 15 years they will make the road, they will build the road, they will maintain the road. After 15 years, they will go ahead and transfer the road to the government of India. But for 15 years, they will maintain the road, and who will make the payment? Government will keep making the payment. So it's a continuous supply of service. So whenever this payment is there, my question over here, when will Adani Group go ahead and make, if it is going ahead and giving continuous supply of service, what payment has been received, it has to collect GST and pay GST to the government. Yes or no, everyone? I am giving a service to NHAI. I went ahead and gave a service to whom? NHAI. I will go ahead and receive the payment. I have to pay GST to the government. Adani Group. When will they become liable? When will they become liable? Is it a continuous supply of service, first of all? In case of continuous supply of service, if people, you have to go ahead and see over here, if Adani Group has gone ahead and people made a contract with the government saying, sir, in the contract, continuous supply of service, right? In the contract, they went ahead and told due dates are there. Then on or before due date, they should give the invoice. So we will go ahead and take date of invoice or date of receipt of payment, whichever is earlier. Sir, if due date of payment is not there, then the date of receipt of payment. Sir, in this scenario, the date of receipt of payment, you can go ahead and make the payment of GST. Sir, supposingly, everyone over here, if due date is not there, but they have gone ahead and told, so Adani Group told, sir, if we make this much, if we make this much, if we make this much, we want 20 lakh rupees, 20 lakh rupees, 20 lakh rupees. For an example, they have fixed one event per annum, or we complete this much portion of the road, this much portion of the road, this much portion of the road, we want the payment. Event is there. So if they raise the invoice on time, on or before completion of the event or date of receipt of payment, whichever is earlier. Is my point clear to all? If they did not raise the invoice on time, the day they completed the event or they received the payment, whichever is earlier. Is my point clear to all? People always remember one thing. If it's a continuous supply of service, the day of provisioning of service, the day, okay, if due date is ascertainable, on or before due date, you should raise the invoice. Correct? So invoice or payment, whichever is earlier. If payment is linked to completion of an event, on or before the event, you should raise the invoice. If you raise the invoice on time, invoice or payment, whichever is. If you did not raise the invoice on time, completion of the event or payment, whichever is earlier. Chalo. People, I hope you guys remember that, where are we? Here. See, let's read hybrid annuity method, which is being told over here. Under the hybrid annuity model of the NHAI, National Highway Authority of India, the concessionaire, means the person who is making the road, has to construct the new road and provide operation and maintenance of the same, which is generally over a period of how many years? 15 to 17, and the payment for the same is spread over the year. What is the time of supply for the payment of tax on the said service under HAM, hybrid annuity mode? Basically, where they are going in and telling, sir, we will make the road for you, we will maintain the road for you for 15 years. Every year you make the payment to us. People, tell me one thing. If I am Adani Group, I have gone ahead and told the government, I will make the road for you for 15 years. I will make the road, I will maintain the road for you. You make the payment to me per annum. Have I given continuous supply of service? Now, under the hybrid annuity mode of the concession agreement, the highway development projects are designed, built, operate, and later it is being transferred to the government. 15 years they will maintain. After that, they will transfer it to the government. Wherein the concessionaire is required to undertake new construction of the highway as well as the operation and maintenance of the highway. The payment terms of the construction portion as well as the operation and maintenance of the contract are provided in the agreement between NHAI and the concessionaire. Concessionaire means the person who is making the road. Everyone, the HAM contract is a single contract for construction as well as operation and maintenance. The payment terms are so staggered that the concessionaire is held accountable for the repair and maintenance of the highway. Means any repair and maintenance also you have to do it. The contract needs to be looked in holistically based on the service to be performed by the concessionaire and cannot be artificially split into two separate contracts for construction and operations and maintenance. It is not to be two separate contracts. It's a one contract which is there based on the payment term. The concessionaire is bound contractually to complete not only the construction but also to operate and maintain. In HAM contract, the payment is spread over the contract period in installment, and the payment for each installment is to be made after periodic specified period. So basically they will go ahead and tell, so this time, we will make the payment. People, tell me one thing. If due date is ascertainable, I should give the invoice on or before due date. Okay. If I give the invoice on time, date of invoice or the date of receipt of payment, whichever is earlier, will be my time of supply. Is it a continuous supply of service? People, can you see the time of supply chart? Yes. Is it a continuous supply of service? Yes. Okay. So what they are telling? It will be after specified period or on completion of the event. People, can you tell me if due dates, if the payment is linked to completion of event, when should I give the invoice? On or before completion of the event. Continuous supply me everyone. When should I give the invoice? On or before completion of the event. If I give the invoice on time, invoice or payment, whichever is earlier. So it says over here, in HAM contract, the payment is spread over the contract period in installment, and payment for each installment is to be made after specified period or on completion of the event as specified in the contract. ठीक है? This appears to be a continuous supply of service as defined under this section. ठीक है? It is clarified that the taxability on concessionaire, means the person who is constructing the road under HAM model, including on construction portion, would arise or at the time of issue of invoice or the receipt of payment, whichever is earlier. Correct everyone? 1 minute. It says date of issue of invoice or date of receipt of payment, whichever is earlier. But this is only when you raise the invoice on time. Otherwise, it is date of providing of service or date of receipt of payment, whichever is. I hope everyone is clear. Next, if the invoice is issued on or before the specified date, means if you raise the invoice on time, then it is date of invoice or date of receipt of payment, whichever is earlier. If you don't raise the invoice on time, date of providing of service or date of receipt of payment, whichever is earlier. I hope you guys are able to connect to this. In case of services, forward charge mechanism may, if the invoice is on time, always it is date of invoice or date of receipt of payment, whichever is earlier. Invoice is not on time, date of providing of service or date of receipt of payment, whichever is earlier. Then, or the date of completion of the event specified in the contract as applicable. So they are telling if invoice is on time, date of invoice or date of receipt of payment. If invoice is not on time, date of providing of service or date of receipt of payment, whichever is earlier. If invoices are not issued on or before the specified date or the date of completion of the event, okay, people, they had given the due dates. Invoice should be raised on or before due dates. Invoice or payment, whichever is earlier. If you did not raise the invoice on time, due dates, that is the due dates, or payment, whichever is earlier. Okay. Got it? People getting it? Okay. If they have given the event and you raise the invoice on or before event, invoice or payment, whichever is earlier. They have given the event, you did not raise the invoice on time. Event date, that is the date of providing of service or payment, whichever is earlier. The tax liability will arise. See, it says if invoice is not issued on or before the specified date or the date of completion of the event, tax liability will arise on the date of providing of service, that is the due date as per the contract, or the date of receipt of payment, whichever is earlier. Is my point 100% clear to all? It is clarified that as the installment or annuity payment by NHAI to the concessionaire also includes some interest component, the amount of such interest shall also be included in the taxable value for the purpose of payment of the tax on the said annuity installment in the view of section number 15(2)(d). Basically, they are telling if there is any interest portion which is there also, because it will be clubbed with the total amount and given to you. For that interest also, you can go ahead and apply the same thing and make the payment over here. This is okay. Now, tell me one thing, everyone. How will you remember this for your exam? The clarification is given over here. It says clarification on time of supply. People, this is the amendment portion. 12 and 13 was already there. Correct? This is the circular which is there. It says clarification on time of supply in respect of construction of road and maintenance thereof of national highway project of NHAI under hybrid model. If I am a concessionaire and I am going ahead and maintaining the roads of the government, it says over here, issue, what is the time of supply on construction, operation and maintenance of road under HAM model? If I am going ahead and make the road for the government, what is the time of supply? Clarification, it's a continuous supply of people. The whole story I have gone ahead and made small. It's a continuous supply of service. The taxability under HAM model would be as follows. What is it telling? If invoice is issued on or before the specified date or the date of completion of the event, people, due date or event date is given and you raise the invoice on time. Invoice or payment, whichever is. If invoice is not issued on or before the specified date, then or the date of completion of the event, then it is the date of providing of service or receipt of payment, whichever is. Is my point 100% clear to all? People, that's it with respect to your time of supply ka small circular which had come. Is my point clear to all? See quickly. Will you remember this? I believe continuous supply of service is very important from exam point of view. In your book, one Renu Dut ka question is also there. That question you should always try. ठीक है everyone? Basically, before going ahead and doing this amendment, you should have already read continuous supply of service once. People, I'll tell you simple. If due date is given in the contract, tell me what will happen. Invoice should be on or before due date. If I raise the invoice on time, invoice or payment, whichever is earlier. If I did not raise the invoice on time, the due dates or payment, whichever is earlier. Payment is linked to completion of event and I raise the invoice on or before event. Invoice or payment, whichever is earlier. If I did not raise the invoice on time, event date, that is the date of providing of service or payment, whichever is 100% clear. Chalo, done. Here. The next one, amendment, is respect to with everyone what? ITC. Input tax credit. People, tell me one thing. Everyone over here. Section number 16.4 went ahead and told you. Section number 16.4 went ahead and told you what is the maximum time limit. Do you remember everyone? Section number 16, when you read. Section number 16 mein the conditions are told to take the credit. In section number 16, 4 is there. Section number 16.4 says what everyone? What is the maximum time limit to go ahead and... Hey people, what is the maximum time limit to take the credit? The maximum time limit to claim the credit with respect to invoice or debit note is 30th November. This year ka invoice or debit note, the time limit is next year 30th November or annual return ka actual date, whichever is earlier. So people, if I go ahead and ask you, for an example, this year, I received one invoice in the month of April. People listen carefully, okay? I received one invoice in the month of April. This invoice, when should I take the credit generally? 20th May. If I forgot, can I take next month return, next month return, next month return, next month return? I can go ahead and take the credit. But what is the maximum time limit? 30th November or annual return ka actual date of filing, whichever is earlier. Do you guys agree with me? If annual return is filed over here, then 30th November. If annual return is filed over here, then actual date, whichever is earlier. This is with respect to invoice or debit note which you have gone ahead and received. Any invoice or any debit note. Now the question which came was, sir, clarification on time limit on under section number 16.4. What does section number 16.4 says everyone? Maximum time limit to take the credit of an invoice or debit note is what date everyone? 30th November or annual return ka actual date, whichever is earlier. So it says clarification on time limit under section number 16.4 of the CGST Act in respect of RCM supplies received from unregistered person. See Baba, whenever I receive supplies under RCM, if it's a registered person, he will already give me an invoice. For the invoice which I have received from a registered person, what is the maximum time limit? First, I should make that payment of the tax, and then the maximum time limit is 30th November or annual return, whichever is earlier. Clear? But what if the person who has supplied me is an unregistered person? If he is an unregistered person, I have to myself make an invoice. Are everyone, yes or no? I have to myself make an invoice. Correct? Now, when I have to myself make an invoice, what is the maximum time limit to go ahead and take the credit? First of all, Now you have to yourself make an invoice. Now here people went ahead and told, sir, I will do one thing. I will make the invoice next year. If I make the invoice next year, then next year ka next November, 30th November or annual return ka actual date, whichever is earlier. For an example, I received one RCM supply, but I forgot to make the invoice now. Invoice only is not there. I will make the invoice next year and then 30th November or annual return, whichever is earlier. So people ask, sir, what is the provision relating to this if I have to make a self-invoice? Is my point able to clear everyone? So government went ahead and told, it is clarified that in case of supplies received from unregistered supplier, where the tax has to be paid by the recipient under reverse charge and where the invoice is to be issued by the recipient of the supply in accordance with 31(3)(f) self-invoice, the relevant financial year for calculation of time limit for taking the credit. What is the time limit to take the credit? 30th November and annual return ka actual date, whichever is earlier. The relevant financial year will be the financial year in which the invoice has been issued by the recipient under 31(3)(f). The year I make the invoice. For an example, I received one RCM supply this year. I should make the invoice this year. This year ka next year 30th November or annual return, whichever is earlier. I received the supply this year. So I should make the invoice. Do you guys agree with me? Array, self-invoice. Now they are going ahead and telling, but it is subject to payment of tax on the said supply by the recipient and fulfillment of other condition under section number 16 and section number 17. So what they are going ahead and telling? Nothing, Ramesh. I went ahead and received. Pooja went ahead and supplied me some directorial services. I have to pay the GST under RCM. When I received the supply, I should go ahead and make the invoice in this year only, make the payment of the tax and take the credit. Simple. And the maximum time limit to take the credit will be 30th November or annual return ka actual date, whichever is earlier. But other condition under section number 16 should be there, prescribed, no problem. What they are telling now, in case the recipient issues the invoice after the time of supply, can you tell me everyone, RCM mein what is the time of supply? RCM, if I go ahead and tell you, RCM ka case mein what is the time of supply? Date of receipt of goods or date of payment or 31st day from the date of invoice, whichever is earlier. So time of supply, please make the invoice. Supposingly the time, people, date of receipt of goods. Array everyone, the date of receipt of goods, date of payment or 31st day. In case of service, it is date of payment or 61st day. Whatever is the time of supply. People, you remember time of supply chapter? 1 minute. See, in case of reverse charge, what is the time of supply? Here. Date of receipt of goods. Pooja supplied me the goods supposingly on 1st of April. Date of payment, I made the payment to her on 10th of April. She gave me an invoice which was dated 1st April. 31st day will be what? 1st of May. Okay, everyone? Which is earlier? 1st April. So I should make the invoice on 1st April. So if I made the invoice this year, once it gets over, April, May, if I made the invoice, I should take the credit in the month of 20th May. Yes or no, everyone? If I did not take on 20th May, 20th June, 20th July, I can take, but the maximum time limit will be what, everyone? 30th November or annual return ka actual date, whichever is earlier. People, tell me one thing. In this case, I should go ahead and make the invoice on what date? Okay, if I go ahead and make it 4th April, can you tell me 4th April, 10th April or 1st May? 4th April? So, theek hai. I should make the invoice in the month of April on 4th of April. Yes, everyone? Will I make the invoice over here? Which invoice? Self-invoice. This self-invoice ka, when can I take the credit? This is April, everyone. I should take the credit on 20th May. If I don't take, can I take next month? Can I take next month? Can I take next month? But maximum is this year ka, next year 30th November or annual return ka actual date of filing, whichever is. Do you guys agree with me? That's all they are going ahead and telling. Supposingly, you know what I did? I'm a very bad boy. I did not raise the invoice on time. When should I raise the invoice on time? On the time of supply. I should make the self-invoice. I told, Who will come to know? I will not make the invoice here. I'll make the invoice later. They're telling no problem. You make the invoice later. But you will have to pay interest because you have delayed in the payment of tax. Because see, if I make the invoice here, 1 minute, it's a self invoice, right? I have to pay RCM. I will pay the RCM also over here and I will take the credit also over here. When I am filing my GSTR 3B, I will make the payment of tax also and I will take the credit also. Do you guys agree with me? Array, RCM you have to pay in cash also and you have to take the credit also. When will you do it? 20th. What if I make the invoice here? I have delayed the invoice. If I made the invoice in the month of June, for an example, will I make the payment on 20th July? Did I delay the payment? Yes. I have to pay interest. They are going ahead and telling, see, everyone, the recipient issues the invoice after the time of supply of the said supply and pays the tax accordingly. He will be required to pay interest on such delayed payment of tax. Is my point clear to all? Tell me one thing, everyone. If I have to go ahead and make a self invoice, okay, generally, what is the time of supply, everyone? People, the same clarification I have gone ahead and written over here. The same to same story which I taught you just now. The same story full I have written over here. This is the only clarification which has come. Tell me one thing, everyone. You supplied me some goods. You supplied me some. I have to pay the tax under RCM. You are unregistered. Should I make my invoice myself? Yes. When? On the time of supply. On the time of supply. Date of receipt of goods, date of payment, or 31st day from the invoice, any document given by you. Whichever is earlier. I made the invoice this year. So this year ka 30th November or annual return, whichever is earlier. Supposingly, I went ahead and delayed the invoice little. Whatever delay I have gone ahead and done, for that I have to go ahead and pay interest. Is my point clear to all, everyone? Shall I explain again or got it? Pakka, everyone? Is my point 100% clear to all? Chalo, theek hai. If you by chance did not understand, go to YouTube and watch it again, everyone. Theek hai, everyone? Same example will be there. Now, everyone over here now. Chalo. People, shall I repeat or got it? Pakka, everyone? Is this clear to all? Read this quickly once. Tell me one thing. What is the maximum time limit to go ahead and take the credit? 30th November or annual return ka actual date. If I make a self-invoice, first of all, when should I make the self-invoice? On the time of supply. If I make the self-invoice this year, 30th November or annual return, whichever is earlier, if I make the invoice little late, I have to pay along with interest. But whenever I make the invoice, that year ka 30th November or annual return, whichever is earlier. Can I go ahead, everyone? Done. Now, everyone see, the next amendment is with respect to clarification on availability of what? Input tax credit on duct and manholes which are used in network of optical fiber in terms of section number 17(5) of the CGST Act. I'll explain you what happened over here. You know what happens? You know optical fiber? In your home, internet is there, no? So basically what happens, I'll tell you. This is Airtel, the company. Airtel ka office is over here. They go ahead and provide internet, right, everyone? They have internet ke liye, they have servers, etc., which are fixed in their office. Okay? Now, from their servers, etc., what will happen? One optical fiber will come, and this fiber will be buried inside the earth. Inside the earth, what they will do, so that these fibers don't get spoiled, they will go ahead. This fiber is very thin wire. Optical fibers are very thin wires which are there. Now, if you put this thin wire inside the earth, do you think it will go? Array, will it go or it will not go? Tell no, Baba. The optical fiber wire, do you think you can insert under the earth? It is not possible. So what they will do, no? They will create big manholes. They will create what, everyone? Big manholes. And they will have one duct pipe. One small pipe will be there, which they will go ahead and put like this. And inside the pipe, this optical fiber will come. Are we clear? So this manhole, which is there, no? This manhole. Can you guys see this manhole over here? Manhole means big hole, which is being built. They will get it done through works contract. Means they will give a contract to someone who will go ahead and use their material, they will use their labor, and they will make the manhole. Supposing that person charged the everyone over here now. Oh, what? Everyone over here now. Listen. What are they going ahead and telling over here? They are going ahead and telling people, listen carefully, everyone. They are going ahead and I took one works contract. I am supposedly Airtel, the company. Airtel wants to provide what, everyone? Optical fiber. Optical fiber means in your home, the wire will come through this. People listen carefully. The wire will come through the machine of Airtel office, and this wire will come from here, and then it will be connected to the modem at your home, and you will be sitting over here and using your internet. Are we clear, everyone? So this optical fiber comes from the machine like this, and it is inserted inside the earth, and it will come out and be connected to the modem at your home. Are we clear, everyone? More than this, I don't know about optical fibers. Okay? Now listen. Now what happened over here? For optical fiber, they will put one duct pipe. Array duct pipe, I will show you. Wait. Yeah. Okay. Sir, we will play some game. Yes, Baba. Okay. Now listen. Here. See, these are basically optical fibers which will come out of the company ka server, and these optical fibers, no, they will be connected to the earth. Like this duct will be there. This orange color ka duct you can see. This duct. So what the company will do is, people listen carefully. The company will buy one duct pipe. Okay, everyone? This duct pipe the company will buy, and from that, this green color which I am showing is the optical fiber which will go. Now, question which came over here was, company took works contract service and got this manhole done. So they gave one contract to someone and told, please make the manhole. That person charged the company, for an example, 10 lakh rupees plus the GST. Okay. The company bought this duct pipe, for which the company went ahead and paid supposedly 1 lakh plus GST. 1 lakh plus GST. The question which came was, this is pipeline laid outside the factory. So, if it is pipeline laid outside the factory, it is excluded from plant and machinery, and hence you will not get the credit. Will you get the credit or you will not get the credit? And hence, government went ahead and clarified over here. Government went ahead and told, listen everyone, see, duct and manhole, whether the ITC, which one of this manhole which was created and the duct pipe which is there, will you get the credit? Airtel company, will they get the credit or they will not get the credit? So the question was, whether the ITC of duct and manhole used in network of optical fiber for providing telecommunication service is barred in terms of 17.5 C and D. Means if I take works contract or I do it myself, will I get the credit of the manhole and the duct pipe or I will not get? So government went ahead and clarified over here. Duct and manhole are basic component for optical fiber network used in providing telecommunication service. People, it is used in providing what? Telecommunication service. The optical fiber network is generally laid with the use of PVC duct. People, this plastic pipe will be there, correct? Then, or sheath in which OFCs are housed, means in which that thin pipe will go. So it will be inside what, everyone? It will be inside this plastic pipe. Are you guys able to understand? This is known as a duct. They are telling, or connectivity manhole, big manhole will be there. People, this plastic pipe also will not go just like that. For that also one big hole has to be there. Big hole may plastic pipe, in the plastic pipe the optical fiber will go. Is my point clear to all? Next. Which serves as a node of the network and are necessary for not only laying of optical fiber but also their upkeep and maintenance. Baba, optical fiber may anything breaks. So to take it out, put again, for that it is mandatory that you have a big manhole, and in that manhole one duct is there. Is it required, everyone? Yes or no? So it says, in the view of the explanation to section number 17, it appears that ducts and manholes are covered under what? Definition of plant and machinery, as they are used as part of optical fiber network for making outward supply of what? Telecommunication signal from one point to another to provide you the internet connection from one side to another. Now you tell me one thing, is Airtel providing telecommunication service? For providing its outward supply, is this duct and manhole important?
Yes.
So government went ahead and told, listen, any apparatus, any equipment, any machinery which is fixed to the earth by foundation or structural support and used for outward supply of goods and service. Tell me, for providing the outward supply, which is telecommunication service or internet, is manhole and duct important? So it will become part of the plant and machinery. It will not be excluded. It will be included in plant and machinery. And listen, whether you take works contract or you do it yourself, for plant and machinery, always the credit is always allowed. And hence they went. People, did you guys get convinced? Moreover, duct and manholes used in optical fiber have not been specifically excluded from plant and machinery in the explanation. See, in the explanation, they have excluded what? Pipeline. They have not excluded duct and manhole. Have they specifically told duct and manholes are excluded? They have told what? Pipelines. They have not told any duct or manholes, and hence government is telling they have not been specifically excluded as they are neither neither in nature of land, building or civil structure, nor telecommunication towers or pipeline laid outside the factory premises. They are not pipeline. They are not pipeline. They are just holes and duct pipes. So government went ahead and told, it is clarified that availment of ITC is not restricted in respect of duct and manholes which are used in OFC, either under clause D or D. C or D means either you get works contract done or you make it yourself. Remember one thing, duct and manhole, you will always get the credit. Is my point 100% clear to all? People, that's all has been clarified over here. See, whether the ITC is barred on duct and manhole used in network of OFC, yes or no? People, will you get the credit or you will not get the credit? Tell no. You will get the credit. It says duct and manholes are covered under the definition of plant and machinery as they are used as part of optical fiber network for making outward supply of transmission of telecommunication signal from one point to another. Moreover, they have not been excluded from the definition of plant and machinery. Accordingly, it is clarified that availment of ITC is not restricted in respect of duct and manhole used in optical fiber cables. January के लिए it is applicable. Remember, optical fiber cable के लिए the duct and the manhole you will get the credit. Is my point 100% clear to all? Please tell me, everyone. Done? Now, the next amendment is over here. Clarification. People, listen to me very carefully. This amendment, when we will learn, we will link it to ITC also. We will link it to the supply chapter also. The first amendment which was there here in the chapter of supply, we will link it with ITC. Let's first go ahead and learn the ITC wala amendment. Once you have learned this, you will be able to understand that also. Can I go ahead, everyone? Everyone over here now, listen. Clarification on availment of ITC in respect of warranty replacement of parts and repair services during warranty period. I will go ahead and tell you. For an example, Apple went ahead and sold me a mobile phone. Now that mobile phone has some problem which is there. Apple sold me a mobile phone. I am a distributor. I went ahead and Apple is the manufacturer. I am the distributor. I went ahead and sold the mobile phone to customer. Now customer had some mobile phone mein issue. People listen carefully. Customer had some mobile phone mein issue. So he came and told me in the mobile phone some issue is there. I went ahead and replaced some part of the mobile phone and the mobile phone started working. Now that part which I went ahead and replaced, everyone listen carefully. Manufacturer gave me the, supposingly, leave Apple. I will go ahead and take the example of, people watching at home, is the audio clear to all of you? People watching at home, quickly tell me, is the audio clear? Yes, okay. Listen. So what happens, suppose mixer grinder. Arey, mixie, you know mixer grinder? So mixer grinder, I went one, supposingly which company will take mixer grinder? Preeti, okay. Preeti went ahead and sold me a mixer grinder. Okay? Preeti, the company which is there. Preeti company, okay. went ahead and sold me the mixer grinder. ठीक है? Butterfly is better. He's telling butterfly. Preeti, someone will think, who is Preeti, sir? ठीक है? Now, Butterfly company say is a manufacturer. Butterfly fly company is the manufacturer. I am the distributor. People listen carefully. They gave me the mixer grinder. I sold the mixer grinder to Kanna. Now the customer. Some people who are talking, kindly stop talking. Here. Arey, you understand English? Stop talking. Everyone here now. They gave me the mixer grinder. I sold the mixer grinder. Okay, everyone. Now, when I sold the mixer grinder, some problem happened in the mixer grinder. Kanna came and told me, sir, this mixer grinder has a problem. I am the distributor. I replaced the mixer grinder ka some part and gave the mixer grinder. Now, this part which was replaced by me, free of cost, whether it will be a supply, not a supply. When I replace the part, I will go ahead and tell the manufacturer, hey, this customer ka part I replaced, this part should be supplied by you. So when he goes ahead and gives me the part, whether it will be a supply, when I go ahead and replace the part, whether it will be a supply, should I go ahead and charge GST, not charge GST, all those things have been clarified in this circular. Let's go ahead and understand. Did you guys get it, everyone? That is the circular going in and talking. It says number one issue. There are some cases, so whether it will be a supply or not, that is told by supply chapter. Whether the parts which is there, will I get the ITC or not, that is told by ITC chapter. Let's go ahead and understand them. Everyone over here now. There are some cases where the original equipment manufacturer, people, can you tell me in our mixer grinder wala example, who is the original equipment manufacturer? Butterfly, the company who made the mixer grinder, offers warranty for the goods supplied by him to the customer and provides replacement of the goods or its part or repair services to the customer during the warranty period without separately charging any consideration at the time of such replacement. People, what happened? I am the manufacturer. Supposingly, I am Butterfly, the manufacturer. I directly sold one mixer grinder to one customer. Now, I told the customer, see, in 1 year, any problem happens to the mixer grinder, come to me. I will replace the part or I will repair and give it to you without any cost. You came to me. I repaired it and gave it to you without any cost. Whether, see, when I originally supplied the mixer grinder, is it supply, not supply? No, supply. But later when I repaired it for you or I replaced a part for you, I only did. I am only the company. I only did. Whether it is a supply or not a supply, because the part was replaced free of cost. So it says whether in such case the manufacturer is required to reverse ITC, because see, the part which I gave it to you free of cost, that part I would have purchased. I am the manufacturer. That part I went ahead and gave it free of cost. Did I charge you GST or did not charge GST? I gave you free of cost. So I did not go ahead and charge any GST. So ITC will be blocked. ITC gone because goods given free. ITC also gone. You tell me one thing, anything in the world is free. That mixer grinder when I sold, no, I already knew. Might be he can come later. So when original items are sold, no, that time only the seller considers the price, including that tomorrow if anything happens also I will replace free of cost. It is not free. 100 rupees ka item is actually sold at 110. Do you guys agree with me? So tell me one thing, when the part is replaced for you free of cost in future, is it actually free or not free? Not free. And hence the clarification, let's read. I am not read the question only. Whether in such case the manufacturer is required to reverse the ITC in respect of such replacement of goods or its part, as the case may be, or supply of repair services as part of the warranty, in respect of which no additional consideration is charged from the customer. So when I did not, see, first I sold you the mixer grinder. Later I replaced one part or I repaired it for you. When I did not go ahead and charge you any GST for the part, will I get the ITC or I will not get the ITC? What does your heart say, everyone? Is the second, when I go ahead and give it for free, is it free or not free? If it is not free, ITC will be available. Let's read. In such case, the value of original supply of goods provided along with the warranty by the manufacturer to the customer includes the likely cost of replacement of goods or its part, or as the case may be, repair service to be incurred during the warranty period. What they are telling? The original equipment when it was sold, no, we had already anticipated that in future might be this customer will come, and original equipment when it is sold, it already includes the cost of replacement. Is my point clear to all, everyone? And hence, therefore, these supplies cannot be considered as exempt supply. It means the parts which is given, it is not exempt, it is not free of cost. And accordingly, the manufacturer who provides replacement of goods or its part, as the case may be, and or repair service to the customer during the warranty period, is not required to reverse the ITC in respect of the replacement of goods or its part, as the case may be, or on the repair service provided. My question over here, will I get the ITC of the parts? Yes or no? Alright, tell no everyone. Whether will I get the ITC of the parts? Yes. Is my point clear to all? Next. Thank you. Everyone over here now. See, I have written the summary also in the chart. People, will you be able to see the chart below here? Yes. Okay. Now, what is it? What is the summary? Circular on availment of ITC during replacement of parts and repair service during warranty period. It says whether manufacturer is required to reverse ITC in respect of replacement of part, goods or its part. For an example, I replace the whole goods or I replace the part. Whether I am required to reverse the ITC, yes or no? No. It says manufacturer is not required to reverse the ITC in respect of replacement of goods or its part, because actually the goods which are replaced are not free. If it was free, then you have to replace, because given free, no ITC. But it is not actually free because original equipment already considered the price of the parts. Can I go ahead, everyone? The next one. Chalo, second question. What is the second question going ahead and asking here? Whether the distributor, now what happened? Now we are not talking about the manufacturer. We are talking about whom, everyone? Distributor. Manufacturer gave the goods to the distributor. Distributor had sold to the customer. Okay? Now, whether the distributor provides replacement of parts to the customer as a part of warranty on behalf of the manufacturer. What happened? I went ahead and this is Butterfly company. They gave me mixer grinder. I am the distributor. Customer ko I sold it. Now customer had some problem. So what I did, I am the distributor. So I replaced some part. I replaced some parts and later I took it from the company. When I went ahead and replaced some part and later I took it from the company, is there a supply of goods by the company to the distributor? Because the company will give the part free of cost and then I will go ahead and replace it. Yes or no, everyone? I will replace for free. Company will also give it to me for free. Now here, whether between the company and the distributor, is there a supply? Let's read. Now, Baba, that is the clarification telling. See, whether the distributor would be required to reverse ITC in respect of such replacement. For an example, I gave the parts. These parts ke liye, whether the ITC of that part, do I have to go ahead and reverse? Let's understand the situation which is given. It says there are 4 instances as discussed below. There are cases where the distributor replaces the part to the customer under warranty, either by using his own stock or by purchasing it from a third party, and charges the consideration for the part so replaced from the manufacturer. You know what I did? Customer came and told me mixer is not working. I repaired it with my own parts, or I bought the parts from the market and replaced it free of cost for the customer. But tell me one thing, whom will I charge? That part which I replaced, I will tell, hey manufacturer, your customer, I repaired the part, now give me 500 rupees. Tell me one thing, sale for a consideration in the course of business. Did I go ahead and do service for the manufacturer? Are yes or no? See, customer say I'm not charging. I will charge whom? Manufacturer. You know, I had that part already available with me. Everyone, I had that part already available with me, or I bought it from the market, repaired it and gave. Karna went, customer went. I will tell, hey manufacturer, I did something for you, give me money. Sale for a consideration in the course of business. Is it a supply between me and him? When I charge him, should I charge GST? Yes. That's all. See, it says, there may be case where the distributor replaces the part to the customer under warranty, either by using his stock or purchasing from third party, and charges the consideration or for part so replaced from the manufacturer by issuing a tax invoice for the said supply made by him to the manufacturer. I'll tell the manufacturer, customer ka work which I did was actually your work. So I did the work for you, give me the money. So when I charge him money, is it a supply by me? Yes or no? Yes. So it says, in such a case, GST would be payable by the distributor on the said supply by him. People, GST would be payable by the distributor on the said supply by him. To whom? To the manufacturer, and the manufacturer would be entitled to take the ITC of the same, subject to other conditions satisfied. In this case, no reversal of ITC is required to be done by the distributor in respect of the same. Tell me one thing, first of all, is it a supply by me to him? Yes, sir. Will I charge GST? Done. Over. Secondly, when I bought the parts from the market, can I take the ITC of the parts? Yes, because ultimately I have gone ahead and done a supply. Is my point clear to all? People got it? ठीक है. Second example, there may be case where the distributor raises a requisition to the manufacturer for the parts to be replaced by him under warranty, and the manufacturer provides the parts to the distributor for the purpose of replacement to the customer as a part of warranty. In such a case, okay, what is the second case? Second case, you know, I did not replace from my own parts. Customer came, Kanna came, he told, sir, mixer not working. I told Kanna, okay, wait. I called the manufacturer. I told, customer has come, mixer grinder is not working. People, everyone straight, sit straight, hands down, sit straight. Okay? I told manufacturer, hey, your customer has come, his machine is not working, what to do? He told, okay, I will send the parts. He gave me the part free of cost. I put it in the customer ka machine free of cost. My question over here, everyone listen to me very carefully. He gave me the parts, I put the parts in the customer ka, I gave the part to the customer, story over. My question over here, did I go ahead and give any service to the customer or the manufacturer? No. He gave me the parts, I gave the parts to customer, story over. Is there a supply between me and the manufacturer? Yes or no? Yes. No. He gave me the parts, I gave the parts to the customer, story over here. Yes or no, everyone? But if I would have done some repairing and I raise a bill, then there is a supply. For an example, your headphone is not working in the mobile. You came and told me, sir, replacement is there, give me replacement. I called the manufacturer, hey, your customer has come, replacement to be given. Manufacturer told, I will send you the replacement, give it to him. He sent me the replacement, I gave it to him. Story over. Is there a supply between me and the manufacturer? Yes or no? Louder. No. It says, whether the manufacturer, in such case, where the manufacturer provides such part to the distributor for replacement to the customer during the warranty period without separately charging any consideration at the time of such replacement. Manufacturer gave the part, I gave to the customer, and there was no charges taken. No GST is payable on such replacement by the manufacturer. Further, no reversal of ITC is required by the manufacturer in respect of the part so replaced. Tell me one thing. I am the manufacturer, for an example. You think I am manufacturer here upside. Okay, everyone? I am the manufacturer. I gave the part to distributor. Distributor gave to customer. Story over. Is the part given free? Array, it is already considered in the original item. Yes or no, everyone? Can the manufacturer keep the ITC of the parts? Yes. Is my story over? Got it? Next. Next case. There may be case where that, okay, tell me one thing. I'll ask you, okay? I replace the part from my own item. Charge the manufacturer. Supply, not supply? Supply. Okay. Manufacturer gave me the parts. I gave to the customer. Not a supply. 1 minute. Can the manufacturer keep the ITC of the parts? Yes. Yes. Did you guys get it? Yes. Next. There may be case where the distributor, people watching at home, are we all clear till here? People watching at home? No, video is working fine. People watching at home, video is working fine. Where is the video stuck? ठीक है, चलो. Okay. Now working fine. No, ठीक है. There may be case where the distributor replaces the part to the customer under warranty out of the supply already available to him by the manufacturer. The manufacturer issues a credit note in respect of parts so replaced. Accordingly, the liability may be adjusted by the manufacturer subject to the condition that the distributor has reversed the ITC availed on such part. I will tell you. Manufacturer already sold me the goods. So for an example, he has sold me 10 parts. 10 parts he has sold me because I buy items from him. Okay, I bought 10 mixer grinders from him. Manufacturer has already billed me how many? 10 mixer grinder. Kanna came and told, sir, mixer grinder not working. I want full replacement. I called manufacturer. I told Kanna has come, what to do? Manufacturer told, no problem. Give him one new mixer grinder. People, what will I do? I will give him new mixer grinder. My question is, he has already billed me for how many items? 10. But one item I gave it to the customer, what? Free. So he should have billed me for how many? 9. So invoice, say he will deduct 1. For deducting, he will issue me what? Credit note. Are we all clear till here? He will issue me a credit note and the amount will be deducted. Is my point clear to all? People, did you understand what I am telling? Manufacturer had already given 10 mixer grinder to me. Customer came and told, Ramesh, the mixer grinder is not working. I called the manufacturer. He told Ramesh, no problem. Replace the mixer grinder for the customer. Give him a new one. I gave a new one. I'll tell, hey, who will give me? If he sends me and I give it to him, no tension. Yes or no, everyone? He did not send me. He told Ramesh, give one to him. I will bill you only for 9. But I'll tell, you already billed for me 10. What about 1? He will tell 1 ke liye I will issue credit note. If he issues me credit note, I should go ahead and reduce my ITC. Is my point clear to all? See here. That's all is the third case. Fourth case. There may be, people here. Where the distributor provides replacement on behalf of manufacturer, whether he is required to reverse ITC, clarified. There may be 4 instances. If distributor replaces part to the customer using his stock or purchasing from third party, and you charge the manufacturer, GST is payable and ITC would be available. Means I will go ahead and charge GST to him and he can go ahead and take the credit. Next, if manufacturer provides the part to the distributor for replacement under warranty without consideration, he gave me the parts, I replaced to the customer. In that case, what will happen? In that case, what will happen? It says, no GST is payable. People, you gave me the parts, I gave the parts to the customer. Story over. Yes or no, everyone? Is there a supply between us? No. Is there a supply between me and customer? No. Can it keep the ITC? Yes. Further, no reversal of ITC is required to be made by manufacturer in respect of the parts. Next. If distributor replaces the part for the customer from supply already received, the manufacturer may issue a credit note and adjust the tax liability subject to the condition that distributor reverses ITC already availed on such part. I'll tell you. He had billed me for 10 units. 10 units I took the ITC. But 1 unit I gave to the customer. So now he will give me one credit note for how many units? 1 unit. So I should take the credit for 10 units or 9 units? So 1 unit ka credit I should reverse. Is my point clear to all? Shall I explain again? Got it. Next. The next one. There may be case where the distributor replaces the goods or its part to the customer under warranty by using his stock and then raises a requisition to the manufacturer for the goods and its parts. As the case may be, the manufacturer then provides the goods or its parts, as the case may be, to the distributor through delivery challan without separately charging any consideration at the time of replacement. I'll tell you. Customer came to me, I had 10 units with me. Manufacturer had already billed me 10 units. Or might be I had 10 parts already billed by him. He had sold me 10 parts. I had bought it from him. Or might be he had already sold me 10 mixer grinder. You can take it to be parts or you can take it to be full unit. Customer came, Kanna came. I told, hey Kanna, what do you want? He told, sir, mixer is not working. I called the manufacturer. Manufacturer told Ramesh, give one mixer grinder to him. Later I will send you. He told, I will not give you credit note. He will send me. Any problem? No problem. What he had already sold me, that is over. What he's telling, give one from your stock. Later I will give you. So my question over here, what is the problem? No problem. I gave him one mixer grinder. Manufacturer sent me one mixer grinder with what? Delivery challan. He did not sell it to me. He sent it with delivery challan. That's all. Story over. It says, in such case, no GST is payable on such replenishment. Replenishment means he has fulfilled my stock again. Or the part, as the case may be. Further, no reversal of ITC is required to be made by the manufacturer in respect of the goods or the part, as the case may be, so replenished to the distributor. See here, everyone. If distributor replaces part to the customer for supply already received, manufacturer then provides replacement through delivery challan. No GST is payable Further, no reversal of ITC is required to be paid by the done by the manufacturer. Tell me one thing. Did you guys get it? 100% everyone. What happened over here? I gave the item from my own stock. What if he tells Ramesh, I will issue credit note? If he issues credit note, I have to reverse the credit. He told Ramesh, no, I will not issue a credit note. I will send you one more item. He will send me one more item. I have already replaced. No tension at all. Can I go ahead, everyone? Next. Where the distribute people, shall I explain again or got it? Everyone got it? People watching at home, are we all clear till here? People watching at home, are we all clear till here? Yes, sir. Next. Where the distributor provides repair service in addition to replacement of what? Parts or otherwise to the customer without charging anything as a part of the warranty on behalf of the manufacturer, but charges the manufacturer for the repair either by way of issuance of tax invoice or debit note, whether ITC is available on such activity. I'll tell you. He gave me part. I told, what will I do with part? I have to put the part, repair and give it to him? No. For part you gave me, I will give it to him. But when I repair it, for the repairing I want money. Can I charge customer or I'll charge manufacturer? I told him, manufacturer, for repairing I am giving you the bill, give me the money. Yes. Is there a supply between me and him? Yes. Can he take the ITC of that input service? Arey, when I give you a bill, is it input service for you? Yes. It says, in such a scenario, there is a supply of service by distributor to whom? To the manufacturer is recipient of the repair service. Correct, everyone? Hence, GST would be payable on the providing of service by the distributor to the manufacturer, and the manufacturer can go ahead and take the ITC. Everyone over here. If distributor provides free warranty to a customer but charges the manufacturer, I did repairing for you, but I charge the manufacturer. Is it a supply of service? Is GST payable? Can manufacturer take the ITC? Yes. Is my point 100% clear? Got it, everyone? The same thing which we have gone ahead and learned in the chart. In your version 7, this was not there. Version 8, this is an addition. You can go ahead and take it from the amendment material. Is my point 100% clear to all? Shall I ask or got it? I'll close my revision on the chapter of ITC. Now listen. When we learn ITC, along with this, supply chapter also, let's link the amendment and study. Everyone here. Listen. In the supply also, same clarification is there. People, in the supply chapter also, same clarification is there. Please come to your supply chapter. But in ITC chapter, we spoke about ITC. In supply chapter, we speak from which point of view? Supply. Let's read quickly, everyone. Can we read quickly at this amendment? Here. Clarification on liability to pay GST in respect of warranty replacement of parts and repair services during the warranty period. Number 1. There are cases where original equipment manufacturer offers warranty, see same question, but answer will be little from supply angle, of goods supplied by him to the customer and provides replacement of part or repair services to the customer during the warranty period. What is happening? Manufacturer does replacement of part or repair for the customer without separately charging any consideration at the time of such replacement. People, tell me one thing. If I go ahead, I'm the manufacturer, I went ahead and did repairing for my customer. You will answer now. I did repairing or warranty replacement for my customer. Is there a supply between me and him? Yes or no? Why no? Because I'm not going ahead and charging anything. Yes or no, everyone? Next. Whether GST would be payable on such replacement of part or supply of repair service without any consideration from the customer as a part of warranty. You came to my shop. I am the manufacturer. You came to my shop. I repaired it free of cost for you. Or I replaced the part free of cost for you. Is there a supply between me and you? Sale in the course of business should be for a consideration. Without consideration, it is only when it is under section number 71C. This part does not fall under 71C, and hence, is there a supply between me and him? Is there any GST payable? No, because the part which is given, for that part, when the original equipment was sold, already it was considered in the price and the GST was already paid. Arey everyone. So it says, people, see, the value of original goods provided along with the warranty by the manufacturer, the original goods by the manufacturer to the customer includes what? The likely cost of replacement of parts or repair service to be incurred during the warranty period, on which tax would be already paid at the time of original equipment was sold. When I sold you the original mixer, is the tax already paid? So later when I repair, do I have to pay the tax again or not required? See, as such, where the manufacturer provides replacement of part or repair service to the customer during warranty without separately charging any consideration at the time of such replacement or repair, no further GST is chargeable on such replacement of parts or repair service during the warranty period. However, if any additional consideration is charged from the customer, then supposingly during the warranty, I went ahead and charged you some amount, then sub-sale for a consideration in the course of business. Should I charge you GST? Yes. Either for replacement or any service, then GST would be payable on such supply of additional consideration. Tell me one thing, everyone. People, connecting it to the chapter of supply. Okay? Connecting it to the chapter of supply. Please come to the chart which is down here only. You can see this chart over here. I am showing it separately here. People here. See, manufacturer provides directly the warranty or distributor does it on the behalf of the manufacturer. Everyone listen to me very carefully. The value of original supply of goods by the manufacturer to the customer likely includes the cost of replacement or repair. Replacement or repair without charging, then no further GST is payable. If replacement or repair is with consideration, then GST will be payable. Is my point clear to all? Can I go ahead, everyone? Next. So people, first clarification done. Second issue over here. Whether GST would be payable on replacement of part or repair provided by see, this was provided by whom? Manufacturer. If it is provided by distributor without any consideration from the customer as a part of warranty on behalf of the manufacturer. What happened over here? On behalf of the manufacturer, see, either the manufacturer did directly or on behalf of manufacturer, distributor did the warranty for whom? Customer. Both ka answer is same. Remember, if I don't charge anything, no GST. If I charge, GST. That's all. See, there may be instance when the distributor of a company provides replacement of part or repair service to the customer as a part of warranty on behalf of whom? And no separate consideration is charged by the distributor in respect of replacement or repair from the customer. In such case, as no consideration is being charged by the distributor from the customer, no GST would be payable. However, if additional consideration is charged by the distributor from the customer, either for replacement of part or any service, then GST would be payable. People, don't you think this circular, this first one which I covered both of them together. Either manufacturer gives the warranty service or distributor does it on behalf of manufacturer. Tell me one thing. If nothing charged to customer, is there supply? No supply. No supply. If I charged, supply. Do I have to pay GST? Yes. Story over. Can I go ahead, everyone? Next. Now, the 4 instances which we learned in the ITC chapter, same one over here. See, in the above scenario, when the distributor provides replacement of part to the customer as a warranty period, as a warranty on behalf of the manufacturer, whether any supply is involved between distributor and manufacturer. Tell me one thing, everyone. You will only tell me. First instant, I will ask you. Okay, ready? People ready? I repaired. I had some parts. I used it. I repaired it for the customer. I repaired it for the customer. That later I told, hey, on your behalf, I repaired. Is there a supply between me and him? He paid me 1,000 rupees. Is there a supply between distributor and manufacturer? Yes. Do you guys agree with me? Very good. See, there may be case where the distributor replaces the part to the customer under warranty either by using his own stock or by purchasing from third party and charges the consideration so replaced from the manufacturer by issuing a tax invoice for the said supply made by him to the manufacturer. In such a case, would GST be payable? GST would be payable by the distributor on the said supply by him to the... I've written it here. All the 4 cases. Okay, everyone? If distributor replaces part to the customer by using a stock or by purchasing from third party and charges manufacturer, GST is payable. Can I read from here only? I think you guys are pro now because we have done ITC ka chapter. Same instances. See. Now, second case. Everyone here. Customer came. He told my parts, he's not his part. His machine ka parts are not working. Correct, everyone. Now, what happened over here? Manufacturer went ahead. Everyone here. Arey, what? Customer ka kidney failed. No. What happened over here? Manufacturer gave me parts. I gave the parts to customer. Nothing charged, nothing paid. My question, is there a supply between distributor and manufacturer? He gave me, I gave to him. Story over? Any supply? No supply. If manufacturer provides part to the distributor for replacement under warranty without any, no GST is payable. Chalo, next question. Manufacturer gave me 10 parts already, or 10 units I already have. People, customer came. I gave him 1 parts. I told, hey, manufacturer. He told, sir, don't worry. 10 ka bill we had already given you. 1 I will give you credit note. In this scenario, is there a supply between distributor and manufacturer, or he will just issue me a credit note? If distributor replaces part to the customer from supply already received, the manufacturer may issue a credit note and adjust the liability. There is nothing else to be done. That's all. Okay. I replaced the part to the customer. Manufacturer gave me 1 part. Is there a supply between distributor and manufacturer? No supply. If distributor replaces the part to the customer from the supply already received and manufacturer then provides replacement through delivery challan without consideration, is there any GST payable? No GST payable. Chalo, theek hai. Now, the last one over here. Theek hai. Now, this one which is there, I would like to read from here. People, is the 4 cases clear? Same to same as ITC chapter, right everyone? Here. 4th issue, I will go ahead and read it with you. Where the distributor provides repair services in addition to the replacement of part or otherwise to the customer without any consideration as a part of warranty on behalf of the manufacturer, but charges the manufacturer for the repair service either by way of issuance of tax invoice or debit note, whether GST would be payable on such activity. Tell me everyone. I did the repairing for the client. I told him, manufacturer, give money. Is there a supply between distributor and manufacturer? I did tell yes or no? Yes, sir. Will I go ahead and charge in GST? ITC chapter. Can he take ITC? Tell no. Yes. Is my point clear to all? Next. So it says GST will be payable on the provisioning of service by the distributor. Everyone over here now. Next. What is it talking about? No, this one. That point I have not written here. Okay? That point is okay here. Sometimes companies provide extended warranty to the customer, which can be availed at the time of original supply or just expiry of the standard warranty period, just before the expiry of standard warranty period, whether GST would be payable in both the case. I will tell you. You came to buy a mobile phone from my shop. I sold you the mobile phone. I told, sir, if you want, we can give you extended warranty of 1 year. You can buy the extended warranty also. In that case, it will become a composite supply. If you buy mobile phone with warranty plus extended warranty, it will become a composite supply, taxable at the rate of principal supply. Do you guys agree with me? Okay. You bought the mobile phone with warranty, but you did not take extended warranty. You told, sir, I will take later. Later, after 8-9 months, you came and you took extended warranty. Is it a complete composite supply or separate supply? Separate supply. Do you guys agree with me? Today you took the mobile with warranty. Later you took extended warranty. Extended warranty. Composite or separate? Separate. Can I go ahead, everyone? Next. You took the mobile with warranty from me. Extended warranty you bought from apple.com. Separate supply. Over here, everyone. If customer enters into an agreement for extended warranty with the supplier of the goods at the time of original supply, then the consideration would become part of the value of composite supply. The principal supply being supply of goods, GST would be payable accordingly. Are we clear? People, if I sold a mobile plus extended warranty, can you tell me extended warranty, what rate will apply? Principal supply. Can I go ahead, everyone? Next. However, if the supply of extended warranty is made by a person different from the supplier of the goods, then the supply of extended warranty will be treated as what, everyone? From the original supply and will be taxed as supply of service. I will tell you. You bought mobile phone from me. Warranty you bought from apple.com. Are they same supply or separate supply? This is supply of goods, this is supply of service, separate supply. Is my point clear to all? Next. So it says over here, if distributor provides free warranty to the customer but charges the manufacturer, this I already told you, no. I went ahead and provided the warranty to the customer, repaired it, but I charge the manufacturer. Is there supply between me and manufacturer? Supply of service and GST is payable. Extended warranty. If supplied along with the supply of goods, then taxable at what rate, everyone? Principal supply. If supplied by person different from the original supplier or supplied any time after the original supply, then separate supply of service, and accordingly GST will be payable. Everyone over here, last one. The last one is also the same thing. It is going ahead and telling, sir, you took the original item mobile phone today from me. After 6 months, you took the warranty from me. Is it composite supply or separate supply? People, that's all, everyone. See, they are telling the provision pertaining to ITC shall be discussed in ITC chapter. We have also discussed the ITC ka provision over here. People, the same circular I have gone ahead and written over here. I hope you were able to understand. I'll close my revision, basically discussion on this warranty. Done. The last amendment, everyone over here. Amendment booklet. Now, the last amendment is in the chapter of place of supply. You will understand. Listen. Place of supply ka amendment, nothing. I will go ahead and ask you one question. It says, clarification on the provision of 10 CA. Section number 10 CA of the IGST Act. People watching at home, are we there? Relating to place of supply of goods to unregistered person. Place of supply with respect to what, everyone? Unregistered person. Now listen to me very carefully. When you read section number 10 CA, no? Section number 10 CA says whenever you are supplying to unregistered person. So for an example, I am a shopkeeper. And one person is there. He came to my shop to buy a mobile phone. Ding, 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 ding. He came. Okay? He came from Delhi actually. And I am in Tamil Nadu. And this guy is coming from where? Delhi. I sold him a mobile phone. Listen to me very carefully. Location of supplier is Tamil Nadu. Location of recipient is Delhi. What is the place of supply? Where did I hand over the goods to him? Tamil Nadu. So I will say place of supply Tamil Nadu. But 10 CA went ahead and told, whenever you are selling goods over the counter, means whenever you are selling goods to unregistered person, if you are selling to registered person, then place of supply is what? Whatever his GSTN number is there, that is the place of supply. Do you guys agree with me? People, in that scenario, you will apply section number 10(1)(a). But if you are selling to unregistered person, over the counter means one unregistered person came to you, the place of supply, they are telling location as per the address which is recorded in the invoice. So if this person came to my shop and he gave me the address of his address as Delhi, can you tell me in my invoice I will record his address as Delhi? I am from Tamil Nadu. His address is Delhi. Place of supply will be what? Delhi. They told place of supply is what you have recorded as the address. Do you guys agree with me? So can you tell me what should I charge him? IGST. Is my point clear? If he does not give me the address, if address is not recorded, he did not give me the address, then location of the supplier. Everyone here, I am in Tamil Nadu. He did not give me his address. Then place of supply will be Tamil Nadu. Can you tell me what will I charge? CGST and SGST. Regarding this, one small clarification has come. Can we understand the clarification? Let's understand. Now see. Place of supply, particularly place of supply of goods, particularly being supplied through e-commerce to unregistered person. Whenever sale is done to unregistered person, government told if unregistered person gives his address, place of supply is his address. If he does not give his address, then supplier's place location is the place of supply. Do you guys agree? I will tell you one thing. With reading this much only, I remembered this. Sir, how did you remember? Baba, when we make this, we read it also, no? Correct. And I've also taught it in my previous batch which was there. Now listen. Everyone over here now. Previous batch means not the January batch. The May 24 ka batch which happened previously, I've already taught this to the May student, right? Everyone over here now, listen. So what it is telling, issue. Mr. A, an unregistered person located in state X, places an order on e-commerce for supplying of mobile phone. For an example, this is Flipkart. I told Flipkart I want a mobile phone. Flipkart is there in Karnataka, for an example. Take everyone. I am from Karnataka. Supposingly, my papa is there in Assam. I am from Assam. Okay? So my father is in Assam. I want to send him a mobile phone. You know what I told Flipkart? I told Flipkart, you go ahead and do one thing. Billing address may you put my name, but delivery address you put Assam ka address. And I am an unregistered person. I ordered a mobile phone. Billing address is Karnataka address. Delivery address is Assam address. Now Flipkart got confused. Ding. Sir, government, you went ahead and told location as per the address. Correct? So sir, place of supply will be Karnataka or Assam because there are two addresses. Did you guys get the confusion of Flipkart? What is the place of supply? Tell me. Location of supply is Karnataka. I am also from Karnataka, but delivery address is Assam. Flipkart is telling, sir, if I take billing address, I should charge CGST, SGST. If I take delivery address, I should charge IGST. So they asked the government and government replied. Let's read the question first. Same question, see. Mr. A, an registered person located in Karnataka, places an order on e-commerce for supplying a mobile phone which is to be delivered at an address located in Y state. In which state, everyone? Y. Means supposingly Assam. Mr. A, while placing the order, provide the billing address of X state. Means he provide the billing address of Karnataka for an example. In such a scenario, what would be the place of supply of the said supply of mobile phone, whether the state pertaining to billing address, that is state X, which is Karnataka, or the state pertaining to delivery address, which is Assam. Did you understand what I am telling? Should he go ahead and take the place of supply as Karnataka or Assam? I to give two address. Did you understand the problem? The place of supply in accordance with 10CA shall be the address of delivery of the goods recorded on the invoice, that is state Y in the present case. Clarification given. You will take which address? Billing address or delivery address? Because the destination of the goods is Assam. The goods are used in Assam. So destination based tax, you will take address, billing or delivery. Also in such case involving supply of goods to unregistered, where billing address and delivery address are different, the supplier may record the delivery address as the address of the recipient on the invoice for the purpose of determining place of supply of the said supply. Can you tell me, if I am in Karnataka, what will be the place of supply? Assam in this example, that is the delivery address. And can you tell me what should I charge? Is this concept clear to all, everyone? This was the only amendment which was there in your chapter of place of supply. Congratulations, people. We are done with our complete revision. Correct, everyone? So we are done with our complete revision for our 1 minute. First of all, we are done with our complete amendments. Done, everyone? See, amendments are all complete.